What's good, guys? LM7 here, back again with another review. This time we're looking at the biggest set of 2025 and the biggest Star Wars set so far, the Death Star. All right, so this thing is starting off massive, so that's what you guys have to look forward to. So the Death Star, it's a little icon there. 18 plus, 75419, 9,023 pieces, so it makes it by far the biggest Star Wars set. It's in the top 10 of LEGO sets of all time, but there's a couple that actually beat this thing out. If you flip the box over, you got all of the minifigures, and there is quite a few. And then you can, they show you, I'll show one here. I like this picture of the Death Star. I think the colors are cool. And if we flip the box over, you can see all kinds of features that we will look at soon enough. The infamous measurement square there. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. All right. So first off, the box is big. So it's not going to be in the frame forever. And for now, we are going to move a little closer and bring this down here so we can take a look at other stuff real quick before we take a look at the set. So I want to point out this thing is massive. 9,000 pieces. It took a really long time to build, so factor that in. It is a really large chunk of money, no matter where you live. We all know the price. We all knew it was going to cost this much. And later on in the review, we'll talk about if it's actually worth the cost, despite everyone's feelings on whether it is a full sphere or not. But to start off, you get not one, but 6 instruction booklets. And they are wild. There is a lot going on. And here is the final model, fully built. Each book has a different little dude that walks you through the books. So book 6 is 120 pages. Book 5 is 280. Book 4 is 220. Book 3 is over 300. Book 2 is almost 200, and book 1 is 240. So there are a lot of pages of building. So don't try to do this in one sitting. The stutter there was on purpose. Don't try to do this in one sitting. You're not going to feel very good afterward. It doesn't matter how fast a builder you are. 9,000 pieces and 1,200 pages of book. Do it in a couple sittings. Take a couple breaks. But lastly, about the books, they are very nice and laminated. They have a nice sheen to them, and they all have a slightly different little image on the front. I like the look of these. I think these are pretty cool. See? It's not a white book, so I like it. That's book 2's image. Book 3's image has the Rebellion on it. Book 4 is Imperial. Book 5. And book 6. So, that's a lot of reading to do. That's a really thick manual. It also comes with 38 minifigures. If you're super specific and only count, if you don't count droids, then there's 38 minifigures. If you count the promo, there's 41. And if you count the couple droids included, you're at 43. So, just like the rest of the set, get a snack, get a drink. If you really want to look at this set, buckle up because we're going to be here a little bit. All right, so you do get a little Ultimate Collector's display card as per usual. There's all your stats. Made by Quat Drive Yards. They made the Venator too. Quality work. So to start off, you get the little console that depicts Galen putting the I lost my train of thought. Putting the weakness in the Death Star 1, so you can blow it up easier. And you get Galen Urso here, and Krennic. Galen we've never seen before, which is nice. Krennic isn't super new. He does have a double-sided face, though, which is nice, and he's got a nice felt cape. Galen is a pretty decent minifigure as well. There's some of the Death Star plans. Stardust. He's got a double-sided face, too. We're not going to spend forever on each dude. We're going to kind of go through them a little quick because there are a bajillion of them. So, to start off, you get Chewbacca. He's fine, pretty standard actually. There's nothing too drastic about him. Regular Han Solo, he has the newer hairpiece and a double-sided face there. Just because he'll be a problem to get out in a second. You get R2-D2, of course. Not really anything different about him. But he does have some decent back printing. I had to build this little stand because I didn't want to put them all in the Death Star right away, because I'd never find them all. You get one Princess Leia in her regular Episode 4 garb. She also has a double-sided face and the nice printed little robe that she wears on the back. And then you get Episode 6, Luke Skywalker. I like this version. He's got a nice hairpiece this time around. And an angry face on the back. Look at that, we're powering through. You got Obi-Wan Kenobi. He comes with his gray hairpiece, but otherwise he wears a hood. And you just take that off. He has a double-sided face as well. He's got the newer hood piece that's a little longer in the front. It's been around a while, but just feel like you gotta say it. You get classic Darth Vader. He's got some nice arm printing this time around. You can pair him with the gingerbread Darth Vader from the little AT-AT that came out, if you want to. You also get Darth Sidious. He's got some new lightning. I don't know if I love this new lightning, but it is what it is. He has a double-sided face as well. Most of the characters actually have double-sided faces this time around, which is nice. Now, it's one of the few guys I don't know the number off the top of my head. You get R3-T6. He's just a Imperial astromech droid. He's got a clear head, as you can see. I think that was kind of neat. See if I can get him back on his spot here. Come on, you can do it. All right. You get the Hot Tub Stormtrooper, who is silly and fun and from the LEGO Star Wars video games. Comes with a little rubber ducky. He is the only character in the set with dual molded legs. And that's so that it didn't, they could reuse the dudes later on. But he's pretty exclusive. You probably never find him in another set. And he has a smiling face underneath his helmet. So that's our silly dude out of the way. You get Grand Moff Tarkin. Looking pretty nice. Nothing too crazy there. Double-sided face. It's going to take forever because all of them have double-sided faces. I like this inclusion. You get Admiral Yularen. It's a little Clone Wars nod there, you know, because he did follow Darth Vader into the Empire. I like his white get-up that he kept. And he also has a double-sided face. This one more in surprise, I guess. Which dude are you? You get General Tag, which I believe this is the first time we've ever seen him, but he's not a crazy interesting minifigure, but nice to get new dudes once in a while. You know, make it worthwhile, I suppose. We have Stormtrooper Luke Skywalker. He's a little short for a Stormtrooper. He has a mad face on the back, and he just has your standard Stormtrooper outfit and a blaster. Nothing too crazy there. Going along with Luke Skywalker's, you also get Episode 4. They call him Rebel Luke Skywalker. He has the longer hair. He gets the new hairpiece when he goes into Episode 6, and it gets a haircut. You also get Stormtrooper Han Solo. I'm skipping some of their double-sided faces just because they're just slight variations of the ones that you already see. But he's just Han Solo in a Stormtrooper outfit. Nothing crazy there. Moving along with Empire guys, you get Admiral Piet. Nice to see him. His face is funny. You get 2 Imperial Royal Guards. They have the newer dark red arms, opposed to the bright red rest of them. And I put the capes on backwards, but I actually don't hate this, that the dark red side is on the outside. But technically it should be on the inside. It's a dual-sided cape. You also, of course, get your boy C-3PO. He doesn't have the dual molded leg, which is a little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. They still printed both legs different colors, and he's got nice arm printing. You get a couple Imperial random dudes. What is their official title on the box here? These guys are just considered crew members. She's got a dual molded hat, which is nice. I think all these guys, well, this one did not have a double-sided face. So these are just the nameless characters, just a couple. You get a couple crew members, you get a couple gunners. You know, I like these helmets. I think they look nice. They all have expressions and stuff underneath. You get 2 of those. So you get 2 Death Star gunners, and then you get the Imperial pilot, just in black gear, just a little different than the other guy. You get 2 of those. She has a dual molded hat as well. That's always nice. You get a couple Navy troopers. Nothing too crazy. We've actually seen these minifigures before, but it's nice to get them. Another one of the brand new figures you get is an Imperial Dignitary, and he's cool because he's all purple. He actually also has a double-sided face, so he's a little bit important, I suppose. He has the Nemoidian hat on, which I think is fun. Then you get 6 Stormtroopers, and they all have individual heads, which is a nice touch. None of them are crazy interesting, so we're going to skip over those. But you get 6 Stormtroopers. So, with the promo TIE Fighter, you get 8 Stormtroopers plus the hot tub one. And then you also get this interrogation, espionage droid. He's got a whole bunch of letters in his name. 5D6RA7. And he's also a new guy, too. An Imperial Protocol droid. He's kind of cool. Nothing crazy, but nice to have. And then you also get the interrogation droid itself. Just a couple brick-built pieces. He can hold, some proddy things. Whatever you want to use to interrogate the info out of Leia. And classic, couldn't forget the mouse droid. Which is lovely, too. So, quite an assortment of characters, and we like that. And I would say there's a build, but I wanted to enjoy this one, so I actually didn't film it. And it also would take forever to render all that kind of stuff. But I'll be back in 1 second to you guys, and we'll take a look at the set. All right, and we are back. So I've moved everything off, and here is a look at the set itself. So as you can see, compared to every other set I've done recently on this table, you can tell it is massive. This Death Star is huge, but I expect that for the cost and the pieces and all that. I will compare it with the set in a little bit, but I don't have any of the other humongous hitters at my house here yet to show, but it's, you know, pick your massive Ultimate Collector set and you have that. But we are going to go area by area and look at some stuff and talk about all the fun features. But I wanted to show this far out view first off, so you get a kind of a idea of the scale here. But you already knew it was big. So let's move in, and then we will go from the bottom to the top. So you have, starting off, you have the trash compactor room, and it's got quite a bit of detail in there. The tiling on the bottom was a pain. There's a bajillion little clear tiles that you had to do. And you have a door that goes out into the hangar, and we'll look at that in a second. Plus, I like the minimalist, but still showed a little bit of the greebling on the outside of the Death Star there. And when I flip it around, we'll check that out in a second. But there is a gear here, and if you spin the gear, the trash compactor closes. And you saw the little Dianoga trash monster. He moves up with it, which is fun. Nice little nod there. And that connects to the detention center on a couple layers up. And we will get to that in a little bit. But moving over, we have the biggest room in the Death Star, which is the hangar bay. And to start off, you can open up these doors. I'll show you two just because we're on that level. And you can see the gears and stuff in there. And there is an elevator. Now, I actually don't know which floor my elevator is on. Okay. I found it. So, by spinning a gear at the top, you can see that those Technic pieces spin. And there is the elevator. Moving up and down. And that is cool. And it has that little white piece right there. Oop, my hand's in the way. The little white piece right there shows you what floor you're on. And then you know which door your dudes go in. And you can put a dude in there, obviously. I'll get one. He'll be my guinea pig for all the stuff here. So he just, oop, a little hard to see there, but he just fits right in there, and then we can close that, and we will see him on the next floor. And there he is on the next floor, which is really funny. So we will come back to our friend when we hit the third floor. So this is nice and tiled, and the basis of the Death Star, it helps keep everything secured. And you're actually building towards us, which I think was pretty cool. There are quite a few stickers in this set, just so you guys know. A little unfortunate, but they weren't the worst. I wasn't happy with the amount of stickers, but it won't make or break it. So you don't have to use them, obviously, and I don't think too many of them are even a necessary requirement, but that's a little bit of a bummer, especially in a huge premium set. So we will point that out. I'm not like, we're going to talk about everything, so the good and the bad. So in the hangar, they also include a little baby Imperial shuttle. And if you guys watch my little TIE Fighter review, you know I don't love these kind of midi scale, kind of chibi models. But it does have a couple features. You can fold up the landing gear for whatever reason. Doesn't really make it more accessible. And it doesn't stand, obviously, so without the landing gear. But it has a little bit of detail on the back there with the engines. It was a fun build. I don't really love this scale. You can fit a dude in there. He can lay flat. Thankfully, no studs, no stud shooters or anything like that. And obviously, the wings go up and down. So it's, you know, it's not tiny. This would definitely be a set on its own, but I wouldn't. It's a little smaller than the last small Imperial shuttle, you know, when they started to make them a little smaller, like the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing as well. And not much, but there's a small bit of space in there. I guess you could lay a dude down. I suppose the Emperor has to lay down to fly in his ship, but whatever. We'll move that off to the side. And so this is the outlook of space. I think is cool. They're just little studs on tiles and stuff like that. And then this set has really had classic old school build vibes. Like there wasn't a ton of Technic, and the techniques weren't crazy, so it kind of is just like your classic, you just build it. I don't know, that's what I felt the whole way, and that made me really enjoy it, honestly. Like this is all just brick, solid brick built, and then it slides down. Nothing crazy or Technic or anything like that. The whole Death Star itself is very modular. So if you needed to take it apart, you could take it apart. And you got a little armaments basket. You can put that wherever. It's not, the whole Death Star is very tiled, which I do like, and you know, hardcore builders like that too. And they give you little studs every so often to put dudes. And then there's just some details of the hangar there, and little door details and stuff over there. So there's little details everywhere, obviously, and there should be. But it's nice to see it. So moving up to the second floor, this is where C-3PO goes with R2-D2, and they turn off the trash compactor so Leia doesn't get squished. And it's got some swivel chairs. Oh, there you go. It has some swiveling chairs and a little mug and everything, and you can see out the hangar and with the glass window, and that's cool and all that. And there are some stickers in there, and they have angled computer panels, and that was fun. Fun to build. I like how it's wider than you think it is, even though it's only a slice of the Death Star, you know. It's quite the build, is really all I can say for that. So moving to this side, it is really just a hallway, just to get a taste of the Death Star. And some of these rooms are on little tracks, so they come out. And that's kind of how you build that, which is silly. And the bright colors, but most of the Death Star is paneled like this, so there's a lot of panel pieces. And this is really part of one of the features of this room coming out is in case you do the detention slide down the trash chute, if your minifigures get stuck, you can grab them here, because now you can see into the trash compactor. But there's also a hidden mini kit on the second floor, and on the other side, if you open this little door, that's a secret little room, obviously. But on the other side, and we'll see it closer on the back, there's a bunch of studs too. So little nods to the Lego Star Wars video game, which is always fun. And it has a couple purple studs and gold studs and blue studs to get your money's worth there. And obviously there's our guy on the second floor. So that's 2 floors down. 4 more to go. Now we go up, And I will raise the elevator so we can see that. And all the elevator doors open, obviously. And there's our dude. He's reached the 3rd floor now. And you just come out in this little area, which in theory isn't much, but it's also a slight nod to the Death Star 2 and the core that they blow up when they fly through the Death Star. That's just like a micro version of that. So that's fun. And you get that this little window build to hide that away if you want to. And that's just, it sticks on there by a couple studs, so it fits in there pretty nicely. Then you go over here, and this is where they guard the prisoners. This room doesn't actually come out, but you can see it's all tiled with like the lighter orange brownish color, which I think stands out. And it's got a couple elevators in the back. They're not actually functional, but they're just detailed versions. And over here is the trash chute, and this is Leia's room that she comes out of when they rescue her. So if we take, we'll leave him in the elevator because he's going to be in the elevator forever. So if we take a random guy and you throw him down there in the trash chute, they do in fact end up in the garbage disposal. And then they get compacted, obviously. So if we rotate the Death Star and we go to the side here on the 3rd floor, you can see that there's this little panel that juts out. You take this wall off. This is the center groove of the Death Star. And then we have Leia's room, and you can put that Imperial interrogation probe droid on the little clear clip there. And Leia lays in the bed, and, you know, at least she has a drink, because she'd need one for what they're doing. But that's a fun little nod that she can actually go in there. And you close that up, and it doesn't look any different. So yeah, this is the central groove of the Death Star. Moving along, if we move this direction, this is the tractor beam area that Obi-Wan scales to turn it off. And this has some of the, I wouldn't say the most interesting, but it has some decently interesting build techniques to it. Especially because it's floating. You know, it's not connected to it. It's got one Technic beam that holds it on there. And then you have this diagonal bridge, which is also pretty cool. Along with some, you know, just some regular Death Star paneling there in the back. Nothing too wild there. And if we keep going, there is a door here that opens. Hard to really show the super interior of the Death Star, but that little door opens and this room comes out, and it's Darth Vader's room. So there's this meditation chamber. You can take this off and put it on the underside so it's closed if you'd like. And, you know, just a small little mini build. This could be a set on its own, obviously. And it has been a few times now. This is like the 3rd or 4th edition. But behind that, you can see there's Darth Sidious. He's waving to us. And he is on a little track that you can pull out. And if you don't want to look at him, you can flip it over and just have it be black if you really want to. And that is also on the side of the Death Star there. Little feature there. You can just pull this in and out. So they put the features all over the place. You know, each little room has its own uniqueness to it. Okay, moving up, we're going to go up another floor. Now we're on the 4th floor. So let's open our 4th elevator. And spin our gear. And there's our lovely droid. He made it up to the 4th floor now. So starting off, you have a gear here. And if you close this, not that we needed to, but if you spin this gear, this is the bridge that they turn off. So Luke and Leia have to swing on this, which there's a gear above it that controls this in the throne room that lets Luke and Leia swing across the bridge. And if you don't want to see this, you can spin the gear and it will stay in place and just be, you know, invisible. I like with the light that I have behind, you can see that some of the other lights are kind of look like they're glowing, even though they're really not. That's a fun little bonus touch, not really a feature or anything. So then this room does not come out, and it is just simply a big conference room, and you spend most of the time building the decorative backdrop. And then there's a whole bunch of chairs, you know, for Darth Vader and his Imperial cabinet to discuss whatever. There is, in fact, a little door, though. So they do let you go room to room. Even if I don't know why you'd want to leave the conference room and fall to your death, but to each their own, I suppose. So then over here is the superlaser. And you can see all the fun details of building the superlaser there, and you got the controls and all that. And on the 5th floor is where the gunners sit, and we'll show that off when we get there. This was really cool how they did this. And there's a little ball joint that's just sitting there, and it makes the superlaser be slightly off kilter because it's not actually center. If we had a full complete Death Star, it would have to be, it wouldn't be lined up perfectly. So, and then in the back there, you can see there's a little blue dot. That's our friend Alderaan. And when they blow up Alderaan, there's a little chart for that. It's blown up. And then if you really want to be mean, you can leave it in the middle and show nothing, meaning it's completely gone and all the debris blew away to other parts of the galaxy. Which is silly. I mean, not silly because they're all dead, but you know what I mean. You can quote that if you guys want. So while we're over here, we will take a look at the superlaser, which was quite the build, actually. Nothing really to say about it. It's just it was a fun part of the build, and then they had to make sure the side paneling went around it, and there's interesting ways that they did that too. But that's for you to find out when you build it yourself, if you decide to get this set, which I understand is very expensive. So if you can't get it, obviously, you know, that's probably why you're watching this, to see if you should or, you know, whatever. So we hit floor 5, and this door is the only one that opens the other direction, just because of the throne room, and I'm actually spinning the elevator the wrong way. Boom. Same thing, it's just the white part goes on the other side this time around. And the 5th floor isn't super intricate or anything because most of it goes into the throne room. But you even have all the little control panels for the Death Star, and this diagonal panel was fun to build. I thought it was neat how they did that. And that's where the classic noise before they fire the Death Star, which is one of my favorite sounds. Ramble. So then we get to the impressive throne room, which is actually, I was expecting it to be almost identical to the set that came out a couple of years ago now. But it's a little different here and there. It's different, but I know why people will be like, well, there's just a set right up here. And technically it is, but this is a main part of the Death Star, so you have to include it. And all the features that come along with it, like if you push this, the little Push that, Luke Skywalker falls off the ledge there. That's just on a little pulley. Like I said, here's the gear for that Luke and Leia swing on the floor below it. This is mostly just detail. There isn't a ton of features in the actual throne room. It's more of a display section, but the Emperor's chair does spin, and I like the purple additions that they gave it. The window is very similar to the set that I was just talking about. As expected. It looks good, and it does what it needs to do. And, there's little bits of detail and greebling all throughout, obviously, because it still is a collector set, so you get that. And then, there's behind the superlaser, there's detailing as well. But if we keep going around, and you'd be like, well, why would we go around? Well, not the most talked about feature, but there is a turbo laser here. And this, I was going to save, but this panel comes off nicely. And then you can open up this panel, and then there is a tiny little room with a turbo laser in it. And you can put a gunner. You can see it over here. There's a little brown spot, little chair for them to sit in. So a nice little nod there. And you can tuck it away if you would like to. And if you want to play in there, like I said, we just took off that panel, and lets you access the throne room easier and all that. And you can see some of the elevator details because we have made it to floor 6, and you spin the gear the final time to get your dude to be at the top. Lovely, right? So that gear is just up here at the top. It's not super invasive. It's a little small if you have bigger hands, but it works fine and all that fun stuff. So then if you come over here and lift up this panel, there is a secret hidden. Here's the hot tub where the stormtrooper goes. Excuse me. And he just has a little bath, and you can put him in there, and that's funny too. And then this panel actually doesn't sit on. It's not actually connected. It just holds on there nicely by its own weight, and a single tile stud out in the back. So obviously here's one of the controversial aspects of the Death Star, is the back is not super pretty by any means. The elevator, as you can see, goes through the whole thing, and you can see all the gears and stuff, but it does allow you to reach some areas that you wouldn't normally be able to if it was spherical. And there's that little room I was talking about with the studs and the money. It's not pretty, but the set is also not designed to be displayed this way. Like, obviously, yes, you want to be able to display your sets however you want, but this one was specifically made to go against the wall because it is so big. And that is not me defending the fact that it isn't a sphere, before anyone thinks that. Because I, too, was on the fence, just like everyone else, of whether it should be a sphere or not. And I will keep talking about that in a second. But if we go down to the hangar, this is where our little promo goes. And it just fits right in. There's two little holes in there, and I can't see with the camera in the way. But it has two holes where you can put the hanger rack, and then boom, your TIE fighter also fits on in there. So that's fun too. A little silly looking, but they've always done stuff like that, so it's not the worst thing in the world. If you want to put it there, cool. If you don't, cool. It doesn't particularly matter. So let's wrap this bad boy up. It's already quite long, but we knew it was going to be. I'm just going to put it at a weird angle, fire at the Death Star. Is it the end of the world that it's not a sphere? No. I'm going to say it isn't after building it. I was a little hesitant, like I said, as everyone else was, but I think it is worth what it is. You can call it an abomination if you want and whatever, but this is our new MBS style set. I don't think we're going to get any Master Builder sets maybe ever again. You never know. But I think this is kind of the bridge between the two. You know, it is an Ultimate Collector's ship, as being the Death Star. They count it as a ship. And, but it's also a huge display, you know, minifigure heavy set location because it's big enough to be. So I think that's why they did this. I honestly, now that I've built it and I've seen it, and you know, it's in my collection and all that fun stuff, I'm not going to say it's not a lot of money, because it really is. It's an obscene amount of money. So if you really want it, then save up for it. But, you know, no one's going to blame you because you can't afford it. But I don't know if it's necessarily worth being called awful. Because like I said, it was really nostalgic to build, and I thought it was fun. It was fun. I haven't built a set this big in a very long time. You know, the AT-AT was even 3,000 less pieces than this. Not that that means the whole world, because the AT-AT is big too, but what I'm trying to say is I like that it's a little different than the other ones. I think the other ones do the same thing, but in a sphere that you can't even see all of it anyway. So it's not the end of the world. I understand if you don't like that, and you don't have to buy this or like it even. But there was a lot of time put into this set when you build it, and I don't hate it. And whatever, you know, you can be mad at me and all that fun stuff, but I don't hate the set. And I didn't pay the full $1,000 price tag for it, so it didn't hurt quite as bad if you bought it outright, you know. But that's what I have to say. I actually like it. I think it's really cool for what it is. As a display piece, it's definitely a talking point. You know, it's out in the store here, and plenty of people have already looked at it. You know, a little kid lost his mind over it a while ago. But you don't have to, and you don't have to feel bad that you don't like it. But don't hate people that do like it. Is all I'm trying to say. You can like whatever you want, or dislike, and you can even say it, but you don't have to be evil about it. You know. Anyway, this review's gone on forever, and let me know what you guys think if you made it this far. Do you like it? Do you hate it? You're going to get it? You're going to try and save up for it? You're going to, try and get a deal on it? You know, I've seen people sell it without the minifigures for much less, and maybe that's the way you go. But it not being a sphere, I don't think is the end of the world this time around. And it's bigger than you think it is all I'm really going to say. So with that, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.